This is your course summary for IF3 Insurance Underwriting Process.
So we have 11 chapters in this book. It's actually quite a nice size. The chapters themselves aren't crazy long, but ultimately it does take you through some of the things that you might have learnt if you've come from IF1. This is a really good module if you're an underwriting assistant or assistant underwriter and you just want to gain a foundation for what you're doing day to day. So the first chapter really kind of eases you in talking through material information, so how to present a risk if you are a consumer or if you're a commercial customer. Then we go on to talk a little bit about the actual underwriting procedures. So we talk a little bit about the actual kind of the binding the risk and what actually goes on behind the scenes, but then also insurance policies and how to interpret wordings and know which clauses to include and which to exclude. Then it talks a little bit about renewals and cancellation and the kind of the logistics involved in those. The middle part of the book, again, if you've done IF1 or IF2, focuses on the classes of business. So it's split into personal lines and then also commercial lines. So you'll do a little bit of an overlap from what you've learnt already in those areas, but definitely read those parts, don't skim over them. Then it talks a little bit about related services, so kind of helplines, approved repairers and so on. And then we start to get into the real kind of key underwriting considerations of the different areas of business. So, for example, what would you need to know as an underwriter for a property risk or for a health risk or whatever it might be and how to kind of rate it. The latter part of the book then starts talking about those specific rating factors as well as pricing factors, and then just towards the end it mentions how you actually manage exposure on a kind of an account basis, so making sure that you're fully aware of how certain things can be monitored in terms of whether the book is improving or deteriorating.
I personally found this quite an interesting module. So where I was in HR doing my certificate modules, it gave me a good understanding of that underwriting role and what type of things they would consider. So if you don't work within underwriting and you're really curious about that function, this is a good module to sit to give you an idea, an indication across different classes of business. And if you're working in underwriting, this is probably a good module for you to sit because it goes nicely with your role.
Absolutely. And there are 75 questions, standard multiple choice questions, so again 1 out of 4. There are 2 hours allowed for this particular exam and the pass mark is 70%.
The pass rate for IF3 is 71% most recently, and it's worth 15 credits at CII.